Welcome to Quiet Echo. I'm Aisha Khalid. I'll be your host for this episode. It's Saturday, the day we slow down, step back from the noise, and ask the questions nobody seems to be asking. On Thursday, the federal government declared carbon dioxide is not a danger to human health and repealed the scientific finding it has used for 17 years to regulate greenhouse gases. The EPA called it the largest deregulatory action in American history. The president called climate change a con job. California's governor promised to sue. The cable channels have already chosen sides. The left says the planet is burning. The right says the economy is finally free. Both sides are talking past each other at full volume. Neither side is asking the question I cannot stop thinking about. Who asked the land? I am not a scientist. I am not a politician. I am a woman who walks her dog along the creek every morning and notices things. I notice the creek runs lower in August than it did when I was a girl. I notice the lilacs bloom a week earlier than they used to. I notice the old-timers at the diner talk about winter's Cedar Valley does not get any more. The kind where the snow stayed until April and the ice on the pond held a truck. These are not data points. They are memories. And memories are how ordinary people measure change when nobody hands them a chart. Here is my quiet question for this Saturday. When did stewardship become a political position? The first job God gave Adam was to tend the garden, not to own it, not to exploit it, to tend it. Genesis 2:15 a.m. The Lord God took the man and put him in the garden to work it and keep it. The Hebrew word is shema. It means to guard, to watch over, to protect. Long before the EPA existed, long before anyone argued about carbon credits or endangerment findings, there was a man in a garden with one instruction: take care of this. I have neighbors who believe the government overreached with climate regulations. I respect them. Some of them are the best stewards of land I have ever known. They rotate their crops. They manage their timber. They teach their children to leave a campsite cleaner than they found it. They do not need Washington to tell them to care for the earth. They learned it from their fathers, who learned it from theirs, who learned it, whether they knew it or not, from a book much older than any regulation. I have other neighbors who believe the science is settled and the government should act. I respect them too. They are not radicals. They are parents reading about wildfires and floods and wondering what kind of world their grandchildren will inherit. The problem is not the disagreement. The problem is we have let the disagreement become an identity. If you care about the environment, you must be liberal. If you care about the economy, you must be conservative. If you ask questions, you are a threat to whichever side you are not standing on. Cedar Valley does not work this way. Dan Larson changes the oil in his truck on schedule because a well-maintained engine runs cleaner and lasts longer. He does not call it environmentalism. He calls it common sense. Teresa recycles the newsprint from the paper because waste offends her. She does not call it activism. She calls it good housekeeping. Lars Olsen has planted more trees on his property in 40 years than most advocacy groups plant in a decade. He does not wear it on a bumper sticker. He wears it on his hands. These people are stewards, not because the government told them to be, because something deeper told them, something written into the land itself and into the conscience of anyone who has ever watched a sunset and understood they did not make it. The EPA can repeal a finding. It cannot repeal the seasons. It cannot repeal the creek running low in August. It cannot repeal the memory of winters we no longer get. And it cannot repeal the instruction given in the first garden to the first man. Take care of this. I do not know whether Thursday's decision is good law or bad law. Courts will decide. What I know is this: the question of whether we care for the earth should never have become a question of which party you vote for. It is older than parties. It is older than governments. It is as old as the garden. Here's what I am leaving on your kitchen table this Saturday morning. If no one in Washington required you to care for the land, would you still do it? If no regulation impelled you to leave the world a little better than you found it, would you still try? Cedar Valley would. I know this town. I know its people. They would care for the land the way they care for each other. Not because someone made them, but because something inside them knows it is right. The regulation may be gone. The responsibility is not. Sit with it. Walk outside. Look at the sky. and ask yourself whether the answer to stewardship was ever going to come from Washington in the first place. This has been Quiet Echo. I'm Aisha Khalid. Have a thoughtful weekend. We will see you Monday.
You've been listening to the Cedar Valley News Podcast, where small-town voices meet the headlines shaping our world. From faith and family to front porches and fields. We'll be back with more stories connecting real lives to real events. Until next time, keep your porch light on, your faith strong, and your heart open.